a lot of room for error for Sceptileice, because even if he drops this series, he has another shot at it. But you don't want to let the momentum slip away from you in these matchups. And Ilum is one of the few trainers that has done really well with Superior. It's really been the jump up that's been the story of Toronto. Over 40% usage in day number 2. And in the matchup between Superior and jump up, that does give the advantage to Sceptileice because he's going to be able to have that Superior grass type, even though Elum's Pokemon is called Superior, and he does have that Alolan Sandslash, which he has used at the Latin American International Championships, and that Galarian Corsola, which his friend traded him. If you did hatch one of those from your 7K eggs, try to trade that with some friends, preferably low friendship, so you can get a lot more of stamina and defense, so you can have it more weighted for stat products. And I believe Elum's Corsola is already best buddy, which is really impressive because this Pokemon was released recently.
Yeah, almost like probably got the best buddy a couple days before this tournament. We got the Shadow Drapion, the Jump Up, the Clodsire with Stone Edge, the Digger Speed, the Shadow Feraligatr, and the Close Combat Annihilate on the side of Sceptileice. I mean, like you said, right? You got to find a good friend with a Galarian Corsola to trade you. I happen to be sitting next to a friend with a couple of Galarian Corsola to spare here too, so maybe we'll do a little special trade after this one.
Find a good friend that has also hatched one, so you don't have to use a special trade. But we have a special moment right here because we're about to get locked into these grand finals. Remember, this is for a bracket reset, or Sceptileice can become your Toronto Regional Champion. We got our leads between Ilum and Sceptileice. It's going to be the Annihilate into the Shadow Drapion.
And here we go. Sceptileice, he has the Annihilate in the back as well. He said he doesn't really like the fact that it's been his MVP pick, or, you know, performing better than he expected, I guess. His MVP pick is actually this Shadow Drapion, but he is going to bring both here into this game. I think he said he's bringing Shadow Drapion into every single game, and I think he might have actually have done just that. Let's see if Ilum goes for a close combat or not. He does go for that close combat on charge attack priority here. Let's see if Sceptileice lets us go or not. It's going to be a big decision. He does let it go. However, this just sets up his Feraligatr for the Shadow Claw down. Now, he draws out the Zero exactly the way he wants, but where's the Annihilate going to go? You still have the Galarian Corsola in the back to deal with.
Yeah, that is going to be brutal for that Annihilate. Not only do you have to deal with that Galarian Corsola, but the Annihilate from Ilum still has enough health that you can't comfortably counter down, because counters are going to be double resisted here. Here comes the resisted Hydro Cannon into the Azumarill. It's going to be really hard for Ilum to lose this matchup, but he's going to go for a cheeky bait. But it gets protect shielded by Sceptileice.
Yeah, I like the play from Sceptileice to charge up a ton of energy before throwing that Hydro Cannon. He farmed up so much energy that he's making it really hard for Ilum to optimize. Because if Ilum goes for the optimization, he gets another Hydro Cannon off. So forcing Ilum to purposely throw on bad timing, setting himself an advantage. He has the back-to-back Hydro Cannon, and now he throws it on charge attack priority to force Ilum's first shield.
This is tough though, because if you double shield if you're Sceptileice, the Corsola is not going to love trying to take out the Feraligatr from this range. I think you give up the protection. You do. That is actually brutal for Ilum, because Ilum can't stay in this matchup. He's going to have to swap to the Corsola, but the Corsola is going to have to take a lot of chip damage here. But the shields are down, so you could land a Nightshade in the back against the Annihilate, but Sceptileice.
All right, and again, he's going for that heavy over-farming strategy to avoid the optimization. Ilum has the Nightshade. Do you ever catch a Nightshade on the Annihilate? Because he has it ready here, and he does land the Hydro Cannon. This is a huge Hydro Cannon for Sceptileice. I mean, Ilum, can he just commit to Astonish down? He hasn't even seen the third Pokemon, but here comes the Annihilate. Super effective Nightshade's going to do a lot of damage.
How much is this going to do? It's going to be super effective into the Annihilate. The Pokemon Sceptileice doesn't like too much. It does a ton of damage, and now you're going to be able to get this Astonish down, and you just have another Nightshade that is ready, that is banked, and Ilum is going to take the first game of the series.
All right, and Sceptileice, as he said, you know, you can be more aggressive and offensive with that Shadow Feraligatr, but it comes at a cost. You have to invest the shields there too. Really great plays from Sceptileice, but just better plays from Ilum.
And that's a 3-ball flex and a huge changeup of momentum. Obviously, Sceptileice did defeat Ilum earlier on in this tournament in the winners finals, but now Ilum taking a confident 1-0 victory. He needs to win this series and then win the next series to become the Toronto Regional Champion. Sceptileice just 3 victories away. These trainers are just locking in right away. We got game number 2. It's going to be Shadow Drapion versus Shadow Drapion. We don't see this very often.
No, we do not. Usually the people like to position it as a safe swap, but it's fantastic in the lead as well. The backlines are pretty interesting too. I mean, a lot of play on both ends here. We're going to see how this plays out. We could potentially see even catches here on the Azumarill from Ilum. He can't afford that because the Azumarill is bulky enough to pull that off. And here's the tricky part too. Even if you win Charge Attack priority, if you're Sceptileice, if you throw right away, you can end up being in that situation where your Aqua Tail is caught.
And now we know who wins Charge Attack priority. It's going to be Elum's Shadow Drapion that wins that Charge Attack priority. And I can't believe we haven't seen this matchup at all in the leads this entire tournament. There is 6. Oh, he hangs on to that Aqua Tail comfortably to throw the Aqua Tail in the Elum. Now, which Drapion has more stat product? Could Elum actually get the Poison Sting down and take a Poison Sting? I think he has better stat product.
Oh, but he comes in aggressively with the Superior. This is everything that Sceptileice needs here because this energy advantage, even though it's on the Superior, you avoid the Superior on the Shadow Feraligatr.
I think Elum thought it was going to be simultaneous because both the Aqua Tails land, and maybe he thought if it's going to be simultaneous, it's just going to be a 50-50 with Pokemon we bring in anyway. I might as well pivot, but I actually think that his Drapion had more stat product. I think he could have Poison Sting down the opposing Shadow Drapion and took alignment, but now instead he's facing this Clodsire, which is not as good for his backline.
I think Elum's thought process is if there's a jump up in the back, he needs an energy lead to deal with it, right? Because the Azumarill and the Superior is core broken by it. Here comes a hard-hitting Frenzy Plant. It's enough, though, it's not enough to actually KO the Clodsire. Now comes the Stone Edge. We grab the shield. That's huge for Feraligatr. Feraligatr with the shield advantage is going to put in work in his backline. However, you're going to take some Vine Whips here. You might even have to shield a Frenzy Plant. Elum's not messing around. He's throwing the Frenzy Plant right away. No, it's going to be throwing up a shield as well from Sceptileice. Now 1 shield apiece on the Azumarill. And he now can't catch. He has to swap in. He doesn't want to get farmed down. But this is good for Sceptileice too, because now that means that you don't have to worry about any catch potential on those 2 low HP Pokemon in the back.
And Feraligatr does usually barely win this 1 shield matchup. Did he take enough Vine Whips to put him in range of the Play Rough, though? I believe that might be the case. So I think Elum actually could win this 1 Protect Shield situation just because of the little extra damage his Superior was able to put into the Feraligatr.
Yeah, but look at the switch timer. Sceptileice has a catch opportunity and a way sooner catch opportunity than Elum does as well. Elum's going to have to shield this next Hydro Cannon at some point. This one's going to connect, but he's already at the back-to-back. He's going to throw 1 more Shadow Claw before getting there. Elum is going to throw up his final shield. However, he is closing in that Play Rough. Can Sceptileice pull up a crazy catch here on that low HP Clodsire?
It comes down to this. He doesn't go. He goes for it, and Elum waits it out. And back-to-back 3-ball flexes for Elum. I think this Play Rough is going to be just enough to knock out Sceptileice and take a 2-0 series advantage.
This might be Elum's day. He's feeling good. He's feeling confident. 3-0 against Dr. Roast Beef in the losers finals, continuing his undefeated run here in the grand finals. Since then, 2-0 now against Sceptileice. 5 straight wins. 1 more, and he's going to reset the bracket.
And then it's anyone's series. If he resets this bracket, the next trainer to get 3 match points will be your Toronto champion. Ilqm, we've mentioned so many times, he hasn't been in this position since 2023 Hartford, but now he is 1 victory away from that opportunity of getting his first regional championship ever, and it feels like he has all the momentum here. He's won 5 straight battles, had 2 straight 3-ball flexes in the Sceptileice's team. Looks like he's figured them out a little bit.
That's right. I mean, you know, they're just great plays all the way around, right? I don't see any significant misplays or any really misplays from Sceptileice, but Ilqm just predicting his opponent really well, predicting the catch, right? You can see here he's pausing. He's not going to throw right when he has a play rough. He knows that is Sceptileice's win con, and as long as he stays patient, avoids the catch, he's going to win.
And how about that Clodsire versus Superior matchup? Able to get through the Clodsire there, but gave up a Protect Shield. But you get that Protect Shield right back from the Feraligatr. And then once you did enough Vine Whip damage, that means the Feraligatr will be in range of the Play Rough. So it's been a real team effort from Ilqm here. And I believe Ilqm not only one charge attack priority versus Sceptile Ice, but it also seemed like he somehow had more stat product as well, because he took those double Aqua Tails more comfortably.
That can definitely happen sometimes depending on what kind of Pokemon you end up training in these situations. And now, speaking of mirror matches, we have a Annihilate mirror match here, and this is kind of an awkward one. Ilum can potentially catch the energy here on the backside of that Azumarill, but he can always risk a potential of getting the Annihilate blocked into his Alolan Sandslash.
And in this matchup, it's crucial to win charge attack priority, which we know Sceptile Ice wins in this matchup. So yes, you might want to Protect Shield this up and match the Protect Shields. Actually, no, letting the first one go, knowing that you can get to the second one, but that just does so much damage, and now you're in danger of maybe getting countered down. Do you try to swap on this energy into the Azumarill? And Ilum does swap on the energy into the Azumarill to soak it up.
That's a tough situation for Sceptile Ice, because if he doesn't throw, he could also end up getting taken out by the opposing Rage Fist, but Ilum knows he's going to throw because he's so low on health, and now he gets the Feraligatr on the Alolan Sandslash, clearing the way for the Alolan Sandslash, actually, because the two hardest answers to that is that Feraligatr and and the Annihilate, and Ilum drawn both of them out.
ABA strong to Alolan Sandslash, but neither of those Pokemon are going to land on it. It's going to be the Shadow Drapion that's going to land on the Alolan Sandslash in the back, and there is a Protect Shield advantage for Sceptile Ice. Does he decide to give up one here? Yes, he does Protect Shield on this play rough to keep the Feraligatr around. I like that because you can start banking up a bunch of energy here, but the thing is, Ilum does have a Rage Fist banked on his own Annihilate.
Yeah, this Feraligatr, the matchup there on who wins Charge Attack Priority is not always clear, so we'll have to see how that plays out. But does come in with the Annihilate, and looks like Sceptile Ace is going to throw this Hydro Cannon. It looked like Ilum didn't have the chance to throw the Rage Fist there. Yeah, it looked like he was trying to go for the move, but didn't have the option to throw the counter nor the Rage Fist. Let's see how this plays out. There's a lot of energy on this. Oh, and catching the Rage Fist on his low HP Annihilate. What a great play from Sceptile Ice. And that's going to waste a lot of energy from the Annihilate on the side of Ilum. And he's so far ahead now. He still has a Trap and he hasn't showed up yet, and he still has a shield.
The problem is, he's one counter away. Maybe he would have had the double here, and now he's going to go into the Hydro Cannon that's going to knock out this Annihilate, and Sceptile Ice has that Protect Shield advantage with the Shadow Drapion, still has the Feraligatr around. Looks like Sceptile Ice is probably going to win this game comfortably.
Yeah, this is the thing too. Even if Ilum got that Rage Fist off, I don't know if it makes a difference here or not. You can see Sceptile Ice getting as much chip damage as possible before throwing this Hydro Cannon. I like this play too because it ensures that you get as much Shadow Claw damage as possible to put the Alolan Sandslash really low here. However, not low enough. Can you get off two potential Drill Runs? He has both loaded, but I don't think one will knock out.
Yeah, it's going to be super effective, but this Drapion is full health, letting it go. And no, actually, no, last second Protect Shield, it looked like, to guarantee it. But now this one is definitely going to be let go because there are no Protect Shields remaining. And Ilum has a chance to reset the bracket, but I think he's going to come up a little bit short versus Shadow Drapion.
Yeah, that's it's interesting. So we'll have to see what the players discuss here too, right? I think Ilum's probably going to bring it up. It looks like he's talking to the judges right here, right now, and they're going to take a look to see if this makes a difference or not in that outcome. Because when it comes down to it, Sceptile Ice did end up spending that final shield.
So let me tell you what I saw. If he tried to go for the counter there and not throw the Rage Fist, then he would have been at double Rage Fist when there was a swap later in the game where Sceptile Ice did swap on Ilum's Rage Fist.
Yeah.
Ilum was one counter away from the double Rage Fist, and then he would have been able to Rage Fist the opposing Hydro Cannon of the Feraligatr, and then it would come down to who wins charge attack priority between that Feraligatr and the Annihilate. That is one possibility there, but there are literally so many possibilities of how that game could play out. We have two talented judges on the stage here, so they're going to make a choice. I don't even know if it's under official review. It looks like they might just be going into game number 4.
Yeah, I think sometimes if you just talk it out between two players as well, you know, the judges may not even need to review at times because both players come to a mutual understanding. I don't know though. It looks like, yeah, we'll have to wait any official word here on the side of the judges. But the players are talking through. It looks like they might be prepping for the next game here.
It looks like they're moving on. It looks like they're probably going into game number 4. Ilum still has a pretty comfortable lead in this series, 2-1. Sceptileice avoids that bracket reset by putting a point on the board. And now he is only 2 match victories away from becoming the Toronto Regional Grand Champion. Can he pull off a reverse sweep versus Ilum? That would be absolutely epic.
Yeah, we have the official word from the judges now. No rematch here. Both players agreed that the loss fast attack on entry from Annihilate was inconsequential to the result of that game. So great that both players are able to work it out here, right? And great sportsmanship from both of them, right? Because just because you can raise a review doesn't necessarily mean you have to if you could understand the other perspective too, right? And you can see here too, I think
he could have been 2 away.
Yeah, I think it's 2 away. So I don't think it matters. I mean, it was still a very close end game, but I think if that was the case, it wouldn't have made that much of a difference. Because you can see here too, right? At the end of the day, the Frogger still got to another Hydro Cannon against Elum and had even more room to go at that point. So,
that makes a lot of sense because it did look like he was also 2 away. And if he was 1 away, maybe it would be a little bit different, but makes total sense. We're going to go into game number 4 here. It is 2-1 for Elum. Elum is 1 victory away from resetting this bracket and going into a brand new Grand Finals. Sceptileice was able to put a point on the board. They're making their last second adjustments, and we are going to be locked into that game number 4.
Resetting or slowing down the momentum from Elum was crucial there, right? Not only do you avoid the bracket reset right away, but you get a win on your side, get that confidence back, and see if you can make an adjustment. If Sceptileice wins this game, then we have a game 5 on our hands, and it's anyone's game. We're going back to the Shadow Drapion mirror matchup here. We saw it before too. Elum not only wins charge attack priority, but it looks like his is even bulkier too. You can even tell from the CP, right? The combat power doesn't say everything, but the closer you get to that 1500, the more stat priority you can fill into a Pokemon, right? So typically that's why a lot of people try to hit up to that 1500 mark if possible with certain Pokemon.
I think Elum could just win the zeros here with 2 Aqua Tails and a Poison Sting. I'm really curious to see if he goes for it. Last time he went for a pivot, and he's going for a pivot again, trying to soak the Aqua Tail, but instead it's going to take a crunch here into the Annihilate. And what is this going to bring out? Is this going to bring out the Clodsire here? I don't think you want to take this damage into the Feraligatr, but you might put this Annihilate low enough that you can Shadow Claw it down. Looks like it came into the Clodsire.
This is interesting too, right? Because Clodsire is typically not what you expect to see here, but maybe he's thinking Elum's trying to draw out the Feraligatr, but with that crunch landing, you are closing in on even Stone Edge range here. Is going to throw the Stone Edge right before the Rage Fist is reached. I think especially with the debuff and at this health range, it surely will knock out. And now the opposing Drapion kind of is in a tougher position too, because it's not in within 1 Aqua Tail range, so you're gonna have to spend a lot of the energy array banked, and actually comes in with the Azumarill instead, showing that third Pokemon will give Sceptileice a huge advantage, knowing how to play out the end game.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that Elum would come back in with the Shadow Drapion and try to bank up a little energy, but the problem is Clodzire's out of range of Aqua Tail, so you would need to throw double Aqua Tail to knock out the Clodsire. So it does make sense that you bring in the Azumarill here to secure a knockout with an Ice Beam. Does Sceptileice decide to go for Protect Shield? He knows the full 3 of Elum, decides to let it go. It is not enough to knock out the Clodsire, but one more bubble will do it. And it looks like a pivot there, a risky pivot from Elum, and it's gonna bite him with a Stone Edge.
And I don't even think the pivot's risky, but the fact that the Clodsire hangs out with 1 HP is absolutely huge there, and getting the Stone Edge off. That's the benefit of that Stone Edge Clodsire as well. And unfortunately, not able to get to this Aqua Tail before Elum has the back-to-back. I think shielding here would be a big mistake, and Sceptileice realizes it, putting everything on the backs of this Feraligatr. Unfortunately, no Shadow Claw coming through. Big decision to make, do you shield, and does correctly shield the crunch.
And the problem is you can't comfortably Shadow Claw this down, and you're at the exact same pacing. Do you just try to go for the Aqua Tail bait here? No, just going for the crunch. You're probably going to give up both your Protect Shields if you're Sceptileice, unless you want to try to call an Aqua Tail. Yes, double Protect Shield here, and do you get the debuff? There is no debuff, and is this Feraligatr in range of Play Rough?
It's going to be super close. Elum still has that shield hanging on, so you have to get the 3 Hydro Cannons. Even if the Play Rough is not enough, I think the remaining health on the Shadow Drapion should be able to poison this thing down. It's going to be super close here, and you see Elum trying to reach for the Play Rough, but not able to yet. He's still 1 away from the Hydro Cannon, so he doesn't have the back-to-back, which means this Play Rough is 100% connecting onto the Feraligatr. However, he missed a Shadow Claw earlier, and that could have changed things.
Yeah, and he's going to go for the Play Rough. Can Elum reset the bracket? It's not enough damage. Now Feraligatr can go ahead and Shadow Claw down. No simultaneous. but Ilum had his Shadow Drapion remaining. That means Ilum resets the bracket, and we're gonna have another Grand Finals.
Looks like the players might talk this through. We'll see how it goes, right? Of course, Sceptileice doesn't have to raise a challenge here, but there was a Shadow Call that was missed.
Yes.
In that Shadow Drapion versus Shadow Feraligatr matchup. And the thing is, if he gets that Shadow Call through, he gets through that second Hydra, or third Hydra Cannon, I should say, against the Azumarill at the same time Ilum gets to play rough, which means he definitely knocks out the Azumarill, doesn't take the play rough, and he can now just Shadow Call down the Drapion, or even take the crunch.
Exactly. Caleb, another factor, he could have registered that damage. We saw a simultaneous between the Azumarill and the Feraligatr. If he had one Shadow Claw more damage into that Azumarill, he probably gets the farm down, and then he has the Hydra Cannon banked to load into that Shadow Drapion. So a tough situation here. Looks like there probably is going to be an official review here as I see the judges going and looking at the monitor. So we'll let you know as soon as we know. As far as we know, that was an Ilum victory, and we'll reset the finals. But of course, we're going to let the judges decide this.
Right, and it looks like there's not going to be a rematch here. It looks like Sceptileice actually not even going to raise the review, I think. So we have a Grand Finals reset. It's going to be set number 2 here, 0-0. Now it's really anyone's game. 1 best-of-5 left in Toronto.
Yeah, here it is. Looks like Ilum was able to take down Sceptileice. He's done it in previous tournaments, but wasn't able to do it earlier in the winners finals. But it is now even between these two trainers. Sceptileice and Ilum are exactly tied. And what better way to get into a grand finals than two trainers exactly tied in a tournament to see who will become the Toronto regional champion.
It looks like, yeah, so both players are trying to make the adjustment possible. Sceptileice almost with a potential reverse sweep, but going down 0-2 to start things off is such a tough position. Elum looking on fire in this second rematch against Sceptileice. Let's see if we can continue momentum going into this final best-of-5, and we get the Annihilate mirror match yet again. Sceptileice was able to win the charge attack priority in this situation, and before Elum caught the second Rage Fist on the Azumarill. Let's see if he goes for the same play again.
And the alignment kind of matters in the back for Ilum because he brought the Superior once again, which is going to be very good against the Feraligatr. And there comes the Protect Shield from Ilum. And now, from Ilum. And now Ilum's going to unleash his own Rage Fist. We saw Sceptileice let this go last time, and he's going to let it go again. Are we going to see, once again, the same exact swap onto the Azumarill? Looks like Ilum is tapping near his Azumarill. Is he going to go for it one more time? Yes.
And he throws the Rage Fist yet again, too. I mean, this does cut off the potential bubble coming through, and you get some chip damage. I think Sceptileice is okay with this, right? Let's see. He comes in with the Shadow Drapion, though. This is exactly what Ilum wants. He draws out the Shadow Drapion, and now the Superior is more free to do damage against the Shadow Feraligatr. I think this is the tough part for Sceptileice, is that he has both the Annihilate and Shadow Feraligatr on the same team, which means that if he spends the shield on the Shadow or on the Annihilate, that's one less shield for the Shadow Feraligatr in the back, one less shield for the Shadow Drapion. And when you play with less bulkier Pokemon, you have to allocate your resources more carefully.
Well, that has been the story of the tournament, is these three Pokemon, the Shadow Feraligatr, Shadow Drapion, and a fighter, because they all have such closing potential. But in this situation, Sceptileice did give up a Protect Shield in this matchup versus Azumarill, so the Protect Shields are even. You don't have that advantage going into the backline matchup, and you might need an energy advantage, or you need a shield advantage to be able to defeat the Superior as a Feraligatr.
Yeah, it looks like Sceptileice got a little hasty there. Threw the Aqua Tail instead. Tries to go for the catch. Not able to. Now almost back-to-back Rage Fist on Ilum's Annihilate. He might just come in with the Shadow Drapion to absorb this energy. Doesn't, because you know you can tank a Rage Fist, but no. Comes in with the Feraligatr. This is going to do a lot of damage if it goes through, but he kind of has to let this go because
he shields.
No, he shields.
And now he's going to have to take the full Rage Fist. No, actually decided to swap out, not throw the Rage Fist, thinking you don't want to give the extra energy to that Feraligatr to let him get to the Ice Beam there. That looked like it was charge attack priority. It's going to be on a Hydra Cannon bait, but I believe Ilum was able to lock in his Frenzy Plant.
Ilum putting Sceptileice his back against the wall, getting the matchup he wants, playing right into his hand. Frenzy Plant is going to knock out this Shadow Feraligatr. There's only a little bit of health left on this Shadow Drapion. Can he do enough here? Crunch not able to KO from this range. And you can see Ilum reaching for the airways. Sceptile Ice already conceding this game, trying to prepare for game number 2.
And a risky choice from Ilum to bring that superior in the matchup, knowing it could be a little bit alignment dependent, whether you got it on the Feraligatr or the Shadow Drapion. But it paid off, able to bait out that Shadow Drapion with his own pivot of Azumarill. That was a huge swing, and especially knowing that he has to play that lead matchup a little differently because he loses charge attack priority.
And I think we're seeing the downside, right, of running the Feraligatr over the Azumarill, because Sceptile Ice, yes, he could be very offensive, but he's pairing it with a Annihilate, with a Shadow Drapion, 2 other very offensive Pokemon. There's not enough bulk to absorb this damage, whereas Ilum, he can catch the Rage Fist on his Azumarill. It's neutral, boosts the damage, but it's fine. It's just an Azumarill, right? It can tank the damage. So Ilum's able to pair offensive Pokemon with defensive Pokemon, whereas Sceptile Ice kind of forced to play a lot of offensive Pokemon or just bring teams that are really weak. Or, you know, the jump up, yeah, it's more defensive, it's bulky, but it also takes a lot of damage from the Shadow Drapion and the Alolan Sandslash, right? It has way harder matchups. You got the Diggersby, the Clodsire, right? Bulky defensive Pokemon, but not great matchups against Ilum's team. And Ilum just taking advantage of the bulk on his team to just overwhelm the resources of Sceptile Ice.
But we have seen all tournament long those frailer Pokemon, those Shadow Drapion, Shadow Feraligatr, and a fighting type, we have seen them defeat the bulk in this tournament. When given the opportunity of a Protect Shield advantage or an energy advantage, they can go off on the back line. I feel like Ilum is doing such a good job of robbing Sceptile Ice of those windows, making him use a Protect Shield early, or making him send out a Pokemon that he didn't want to send out yet. And so Sceptile Ice, I feel like, can still use those same 3 Pokemon, but just has to make some slight adjustments of how he closes these games.
Yeah, he's already lost 1 here, but he desperately needs to win here to not only slow down the momentum, but have to put himself into another situation where he has to reverse sweep, but this time he can't make any more mistakes. He doesn't have another bracket reset to give here. Going to game number 2, this is a pivotal game. It's not match point, but it is definitely crucial for Sceptile Ice to come away with the victory here. He gets the Annihilate now on the Shadow Drapion.
The room for error is gone in this series for Sceptile Ice. He has already taken the bracket reset. He's down 1-0. He can't go down 0-2. He has to pull off a victory in this matchup, and he has a decent lead to do so. But what is his choice? Does he go for the big attack? Yes, he goes for the close combat. Is Ilum going to try to make the big call of the close combat? Yes, he Protect Shields it.
Great call from Ilum, too. He knows that Sceptile Ice less likely to bait here if he built up that much entry before throwing the harder hitting move. So a pretty easier, I shouldn't say easy read, but a more predictable read for Ilum to make here. Now, Shadow Drapion pretty low on health, but you can't really Shadow Call this down. You can't really Poison Sting it down either, which means there's so much more value on this Shadow Drapion. Now, he is going to get the crunch to, going to try to go for the aggressive Shadow Call down. I like this play a lot. I mean, the back line of Ilum is pretty weak now to this Feraligatr. Feraligatr up energy is going to be in a good spot here. And he gets the matchup he kind of wants, but he really wants this on the Alolan Sandslash.
This is so smart from Ilum. Last time he made this exact same pivot to bait out the Shadow Drapion because he had a superior in the back. This time he has a Alolan Sandslash. So Sceptile Ice is not making the same swap as he made last game because he, wait, hold on a second. He actually did make the swap into the Play Rough, and this is actually much better for Sceptile Ice to match up his Shadow Drapion into the Azumarill here, and Ilum is switch locked, so that means the Feraligatr is going to have some good play against the opposing Alolan Sandslash.
And that extra Poison Sting when he swapped in the Shadow Drapion allows him to pace perfectly to that crunch on 4 Poison Stings, putting it in a good position here. Azumarill, pretty low on health at this point too, is going to throw this. Is he going to make Sceptile Ice think that there's a superior in the back? I don't think Sceptile Ice is going to fall for it because he wouldn't have swapped so quickly here. Now, Ilum is in a much tougher position because this is not a great matchup for him. He has the Shadow Drapion for potential catch potential. His switch timer is up. but even with that catch, it's actually not up. He's actually completely locked into this matchup, so this is actually definitely Sceptileice's match to win.
Yeah, he switch locked himself out of the Azumarill matchup to not let the Shadow Claw down happen with the Feraligatr, and now Sceptileice has that same trio and has the opportunity to close it out here. This is going to be charge attack priority. Ilum doesn't even get a protect shield here. This means Sceptileice is going to be able to knock out the Elum Sandslash. I don't even think the Azumarill has any energy. Shadow Drapion threw its energy, so its energy dry. Looks like it's going to be a full sweep for Sceptileice.
Sceptileice quadrupling, quintupling down. I don't even know. He's bringing the same 3 Pokemon almost every game, but finding the necessary win. It's now 1-1. It's essentially a best of 3 now.
It is a best of 3, and it is with those same 3 Pokemon that failed him in game number 1, but making the adjustment, even though I thought Ilum had a brilliant pivot there to try to have that Drapion stay in the back, because in game number 1, he pivoted Azumarill, which took out the Shadow Drapion. That means he had a superior that was free against the Feraligatr in the back. He makes the same exact pivot in game number 2, and Sceptileice still brings out the Shadow Drapion, so that put the Feraligatr versus the Alolan Sandslash.
Yeah, it was a great read from Sceptileice, and I think look at how much energy's on that Feraligatr. Even if it is superior in the back, it's not the worst position for him to be in, right? He knows that he's in a commanding position, but it ends up being the exact matchup he wants to be in. And of course, Ilum didn't have the swap opportunity, couldn't even catch the move. And I think he knew, right? The moment he doesn't get the Ice Punch off, he knew that there's no way he gets to 2 additional moves, even with the 3 Pokemon combined. All right, it's now 1-1. Shadow Drapion into the Azumarill. And look at this.
Yeah.
He brings the jump up in the perfect position. Annihilate and Superior in the back. He hasn't shown the jump up, I think, at all in this grand finals. Over the course of 6 games, he hasn't shown it. Brings into game number 7 into the perfect backline.
And he gets the debuff, and not only the perfect backline, Ilum has no respect for the jump bluff because he hasn't seen it at all. He's triple weak the jump bluff. He was not expecting this call. What an advanced move from Sceptileice in this position. Like you said, we're in game number 7 now in this series. These are long series that these 2 trainers are facing, and they played before as well.
Yeah, game number 11 if you count the winners finals as well. Now he gets exactly what he wants with the jump up, but this is not bad for Ilum. He draws out the jump bluff, and now Sceptileice has a Feraligatr in the back for the Superior. However, both the Shadow Drapion and the Feraligatr have played into the Azumarill, and he can still line up the Shadow Drapion with a lot of energy and health left for the Superior. So it's not bad for Sceptileice, but Ilum at least avoids the worst case scenario, which is that Superior into that jump bluff.
But the problem is, how do you even finish off this jump bluff here? You do have a Protect Shield advantage. This is going to chunk. You just need to somehow get this jump bluff out of the game, and you have a chance. It could be any trainer's battle here as the Rage Fist lands in the jump bluff. Jump bluff is looking like it's just going to go for the Fairy Wind down. That is absolutely devastating. Looks like he didn't go for it. I think he could have got there, but tried to go for the safer play.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worthwhile to go for this, right? You don't want to go down with all that energy. I mean, it's not a lot of energy, but still some energy. And I think Ilum is in a tough position. He might be just conceding this game. I'm not sure. He's trying to draw this energy away, but I mean, he hasn't even seen the 3rd Pokemon yet. And the Shadow Drapion, look how much energy is on this thing.
Yeah, exactly. The Drapion is absolutely loaded. So even though you have the positive backline matchup versus the Feraligatr, you still have to get through this Drapion. You Protect Shield on the crunch here, but you almost have back-to-back crunches. No debuff. Yes, actually a debuff. So now this second crunch is going to be doing a ton of damage and take probably the 2nd shield from Ilum.
And here's the tough part. He shields again, and now it's open season for that Feraligatr. He can throw the Ice Beam without any contest here. Is going to throw this Aerial Ace. Oh, I like this play too. I think Sceptileice gets this crunch before the next Aerial Ace is
Charge
reached.
attack priority. Charge attack priority on this one.
Oh, and he does get the crunch. Absolutely huge read from Sceptileice. This should, if it doesn't knock out, it's definitely going to be a knockout range from Shadow Claw, and it doesn't quite, but you draw all the energy away. Sceptileice doesn't even need to show the Feraligatr in this match. And
suddenly it felt like Sceptileice was in such a devastating position, and now he is going to be up 2-1 and just 1 victory away from becoming the Toronto champion.
Wow, what an impressive series from both trainers back and forth, right? The gameplay, the predictions, the line reads, just impeccable. I mean, again, like, these players aren't really making mistakes. They're just playing better, slightly better than the other game to game. And now...
But we have to give huge credit to that jump bluff.
Yep.
That move from Sceptileice he benched that Pokemon all of that series in the bracket reset, all of this series, and in a crucial game number 7, he shows the jump bluff card.
Game number 11, actually.
Yeah.
But you got to think about this, right? Think about last game, Butters. Alone Sandslash in the back, nowhere to go. And he's thinking, you know what? I got Ilum scared, right? He's not going to see the jump bluff coming, and that's exactly what happened. Triple weak to jump bluff, and not only that, but his... I mean, the Zero was probably the worst matchup for jump bluff, and he even avoids that on the jump bluff.
And we're about to get into this game number 4 of this series, but the 12th game that these trainers have done in Toronto. Sceptileice, 1 victory away. Elum, a trainer that has been a runner-up before. Top 5 in 2 international championships. He desperately wants a regional championship. Can he win 2 straight here to become champion, or will Sceptileice, a trainer that's been on fire this season, can he close it out?
Yeah, you got Sceptileice, a breakout season for him, a breakout performance in Toronto, even compared to his 5th place finish in Baltimore. Meanwhile, you got the Titan, one of the Titans of PP, Ilum, just missing that regional title. Can he do it? We're going to start this game off in Annihilate Mirror. It is going to be match point for Sceptileice. Can Ilum even up the series? Going to catch the Rage Fist right away.
And he usually swaps on the second Rage Fist. This time wants to maintain the health on his own Annihilate, making the slight adjustment to catch on the first one. And this baits out the Feraligatr, but if Galarian Corsola is going to be matched up versus the Shadow Drapion in the back, that is going to be devastating for Ilum.
And I get where Elum's going with this Galarian Corsola, right? It's a more neutral check to the jump bluff, but it also doesn't get punished as hard from the Feraligatr, whereas the Lone Sandslash is much more of a gambit for him. So he's going to bring that. However, there is a Shadow Drapion waiting for it in the back, and that is going to be a tough spot to handle for him. He does grab a shield, though, from this Feraligatr, but Feraligatr paces so quickly. It is charging up to the next Hydro Cannon, and he has back-to-back. Ilum can't shield this, going to get hit by another one, and now Annihilate can't come in and throw Rage Fist. It's not in Rage Fist range, so he's still going to get hit by a Hydro Cannon. And you can see both players throwing on charge attack priority. Annihilate on Ilum's side is going to win this charge attack priority, but the Hydro Cannon was clicked as well from the side of Sceptileice.
But
he's going to throw this.
If you don't shield this, there is the shield here, because if you didn't shield that, it's all going to be Corsola versus Shadow Drapion. You need to keep this Annihilate around. Here comes the pivot. Both of these Annihilates are energy dry, so they're beginning to Rage Fist at the exact same time. But we know who wins charge attack priority, so Ilum actually decides to just sacrifice his Galarian Corsola into the Rage Fist.
And I mean, this is the best case scenario for Ilum, right? He's going to do a little less damage.
Oh, but he's switch locked. He's switch locked.
Exactly. Sceptileice does get what he wants, but Ilum does get what he wants, but at the same time, this Drapion on the back is closing in. Even this is closing in on Aqua Tail range. He just needs to farm extra.
And that's
oh my
not
gosh,
enough.
it does so much damage.
And the Astonish knocks out, and now you have a Power Gym.
You come in for Alligator, I feel like.
You have to soak this
energy.
energy.
No, you might come in Drapion.
It is a tough choice here. What is Ilum going to throw? Is he going to try to look for the Pokemon typings in the corner or blind Power Gym? He knew it was going to be the Shadow Drapion or the Jump Bluff, so I really like this decision to blind Power Gem here. It's going to chunk into the Drapion, and now, can you get enough damage off? This is resistant, but if you don't shield, you might just get countered down.
You have to shield here, too. There's still a catch opportunity for Sceptileice. It is not over, but it is coming close. The counters are adding up. He goes straight for the Aqua Tail, forcing Ilum to shield. I don't hate this play, because if he lands that, he could just Shadow Claw down, potentially, the Annihilate. Annihilate doesn't pace very quickly. It's trying to reach for it. Do we get a catch here? Oh, he does go for the catch! Doesn't do it! And Annihilate going to win this charge attack priority, and he is going to throw the close combat to shore this up. We're going to a game number 5.
It's 2-2 here in Toronto. Grand Championships. Ilum ties up the series, and what patience there, not throwing the charge attack. He left himself vulnerable to losing this entire championship. If there was no swap there, Sceptileice could have registered a charge attack and knocked out Ilum's Pokemon, but to make that kind of call on this kind of stage, it might be a reason he becomes your grand champion.
Yeah, there's so much on the line for both players, right? Sceptileice, I mean, his best performance so far. But, and you know, some people might say, hey, even if he doesn't win this, he could probably get back to it. But Ilum's shown, even if he made it to Grand Finals before, it could be over a year before you make it back on stage. There's so many talented players here. This is the one chance and opportunity for these players to secure the deal here in these next 5 minutes in this final battle here in Toronto. And you can see the damage coming through here, just not enough. And here's the thing I think the mistake was on Sceptileice. He should have came in Drapion to start poisoning right away. Because he waited, he allowed Ilum to swap into Annihilate sooner, which means he has less energy banked already on the Drapion, making this matchup a little bit harder.
Yeah, and Ilum, with that adjustment in the early game, he had a negative backline, especially when he had that Corsola into the Shadow Drapion. But he was using his backline Pokemon just to soak all the energy from the opposing Rage Fist. Because he knows his Annihilate loses charge attack priority to the opposing Annihilate, he was just sponging with the Azumarill, sponging with Corsola, and able to get all the knockouts he needed with his own Annihilate. Brilliant gameplay from Ilum there, but I love with Sceptileice dreams on the line of becoming the regional champion. He brought his signature 3. He brought the Shadow Drapion, the Shadow Feraligatr, in the Annihilate. He was trying to do the maximum damage in that game number 4. What does he lock into game number 5?
And neither of these players are making it easy for each other, right? Sceptileice says, hey, you want your first title after all these years? You're going to have to come and take it from me. You're going to have to reset the bracket. You're going to have to win game number 4 to force a game 5. And Ilum stepped up to the challenge. He is 1 game away for achieving the dream he's had all these years. Meanwhile, Sceptileice absolutely on fire these past few months, and he thinks that he has a lot to prove to the world as well. Securing a title after all these years as well would be huge for him. Let's see. Here we go. It is Grand Finals game number 5, the final game of Toronto Regionals Pokemon Go. And it's going to be Shadow Drapion into the Annihilate.
And he has that jump up in the back, a Pokemon that he has barely brought this entire series. Now he brings it into this game number 5, but Ilum isn't as vulnerable in the backline because he at least has that Corsola, but he is ABA weak to the jump left, so he probably wants to keep the alignment in this matchup as a crunch is going to be coming through in a Protect Shield. Is this double Protect Shield from Ilum?
That sure is, and this is interesting position that Ilum has put himself in now as well. He gets debuffed too. He has all this energy, and oh my gosh, he gets to an Aqua Tail as well, debuffed on the defenses of the Annihilate. It's actually going to do a decent amount of damage, and all this energy is not going to be as impactful. Look at how much damage it does, and he has to jump up to absorb all this energy.
I don't know, that double shield, because he took that Aqua Tail chip, he's just in such a bad position here because, like you mentioned, it all gets soaked up here, swapping into the Corsola, but there's a double Protect Shield lead for Sceptileice.
And you can see Corsola try and do its best, but Energy Ball is going to come through on this Corsola. 2 shield Shadow Feraligatr in the back without a true answer to it. That is scary business for Ilum.
What a crazy start to this game. The double Protect Shield Annihilate
he
strategy.
calls the Power Gem too.
Wow, and he calls the bait into the Nightshade, and that's going to be neutral instead of super effective here. And Ilum is without a Protect Shield. This isn't going to quite knock out here, but remember, Ilum does have some energy on his Annihilate. He's going to bank some energy into Corsola. It's all going to come down to if he can land all this energy into Feraligatr and pick up Protect Shields. This should be 1 Protect Shield for Ilum. He's not out of it.
He's not out of it yet. Ilum's going to have to pivot out here as soon as possible. He comes with the Annihilate, goes for the combo play. Wait, he's 1 counter away from the double Rage Fist. Does Sceptileice realize it? He has so much energy. Now this is about being they boosted Rage Fist. He is going to get to it. That's a huge Rage Fist from Ilum. It's not going to KO, but it's going to put this Feraligatr super low on health. Maybe not low enough though.
And he comes in with the Azumarill here, and now Feraligatr is going to have to do so much damage into this Azumarill, but remember, the jump bluff is around still. I don't know if Ilum's going to be able to bubble down the jump bluff, so Sceptileice is going to have a tough time taking out this Azumarill, but he does have his jump bluff available, and Ilum is still switch locked. He's going to come in, try to go for the Aerial Ace, and the Ice Beam is going to be coming through on charge attack priority.
That's a huge play, though, still from Sceptile Ice. This chip damage is important in this matchup. Elum can't undercharge this either because, oh, he tries to swap, but he realizes he throws the Ice Beam. That's huge. Draws some of this energy away. Now Elum has a catch opportunity on the Galarian Corsola for the Feraligatr. Feraligatr might outpace here. Let's see. It is closing in.
It all comes down to this. This Hydro Cannon isn't going to be enough, but I believe that Sceptile Ice is going to be able to get to the back-to-back before the Ice Beam. Is the Ice Beam available for Elum? It is available! And Elum claims his prize. He will be the Toronto Regional Grand Champion!
And it's been almost 2 years since Elum's been on this grand final stage, and he has fought his way all the way to this top of the leaderboard in North America. Multiple top finishes, but finally, the crown is here in Toronto.